Hello, friend. I have a story to tell you today. It's the story of my daughter's life. She died of lung cancer at the age of 39, and I have written a book which I think is helpful to us today in the very difficult circumstances in which we live. It brings hope and encouragement and a sense that all is well. I hope you enjoy it. Episode 24. For me, the 2 months back home in South Africa are all about rest, connecting and recharging my batteries. Now it's time to pack. I fly at the end of November and Brian halfway through December. What do we buy for Shirley? Brian and I find a lovely long dress. We buy it, taking a step in faith that she'll be able to wear it in May when the bluebells crowd the fields. We also find 2 delightfully curious wooden meerkats, which appeal immediately because they remind us of Shirley in the recovery room. December in the UK is a fairy tale world. Offset by the darkness and the wet, London sparkles with lights. Little trees in the windows and garlands on the doors drive back the grey cold. Christmas is everywhere, and I love it. In Shirley's hallway, coats, scarves and caps compete for coat hooks. We hunt for what we need. Then we savour the fresh cold air, and our cheeks tingle and glow. We shop for a new Christmas tree. Last year Shirley was so cross with God that she threw her tree out. Now she loves him, nestles close, and can't get enough of him. Shirley shops online for presents. As a present for herself, why not? She buys some beautiful tops full of character. I cherish Shirley's pleasure nearly every day when the postie arrives with a newly bought online parcel. We are both programmed to enjoy parcels and feel the anticipation as she rips the paper off. Shirley unearths Shirley's creative creations, as Gaino calls them, little gifts stitched or knitted in hospital. She feels a special pride in them as she wraps them. On Christmas Day, I discover that I'm to have the tapestry with the poppies. I put her parcels under her tree as she directs, and she takes a couple of pictures. On the 1st of December, a wet, rainy night, I drive Shirley to Holy Trinity Brompton in London. Very quickly we forget the nightmare of finding parking, because the message is fabulous, Shirley's words. Full of God's presence, we drive home, talking excitedly all the way. That night in her treasured diary, she summarizes, "When moving mountains by faith, don't focus on the size of your mountain, but focus on the size of the mountain mover." Fabulous sermon at HTB tonight. I went up for prayer as the pastor felt that someone had pain or a problem in their chest. Let's move some mountains. She also texts about what lies ahead. Off to hospital tomorrow for another week. Please pray for the decisions that need to be made when the chemo ends. If I'm not clear by then, of course, still believing in my miracle. In mid-December, Shirley attends her office party at a hotel near Heathrow, and the following morning fetches her dad from the airport. She takes a back way home. Brian is so especially delighted that she's been the one to fetch him. Once home, he's quick to unpack. On his way downstairs, he stops in his tracks. Shirley swept her wig off her head and hung it over the end of the stair railing. This completely unhinges him. Now, for the first time, much that he's known only in theory becomes reality. He stepped much more deeply into our most awful reality, almost at the same time as he stepped off the plane. Brian hardly has time to catch his breath before the next trip to Oxford. While we drive, Shirley writes a round robin. Today there are just 9 days to Christmas. My family's here. Dad arrived on Friday, so we'll be having Christmas together. Please, could you pray that I bounce back well from the last chemo in hospital, and that the cancer doesn't flare up after the chemo stops? I've been quite up and down emotionally, so I really see God's mercy in the treatment break coming up now. Right now, I'm weary and impatient. Fear continues to be my battleground, but along with you all, I want to declare that I do have a good future, and that God has done wonderful things. Watch this space. Loads of love to you all, and a very happy Christmas. We carry Shirley's belongings into the oncology ward and watch her settle into a private room once again. Soon she's hooked up to Fred for the last time. It's steadily been getting harder, but amazingly, she has done it all with courage and grace. What makes this last visit more difficult is the new strange chemo drug. She just never knows how she'll handle a change. Soon it's time for Brian and me to find our lodgings. In the gathering darkness, the map Shirley bought me pilots us through rain and mist. We have some takeaways, and then we knock on Di Wilkinson's door. I have to say, it's wonderful to fall into an amazingly comfortable bed in Di's beautiful home. Each day, Brian and I sit with Shells, or Brian sits in the day room, each with our iPads. I'm glad that Brian can experience what our trips to Oxford have been like. With every previous spell in hospital, Shirley was busy with crafts, reading, texting, watching movies. This time, she just lies there. I see the difference. She's really had enough, and I grow so sad. With every new onslaught from the chemo drugs, her body is losing strength. It really is high time to stop. Now the x-rays show that only one tumour of note is now visible. Claire's so excited that when she tracks us down to the pink and green day room, she wheels her laptop in to show us. We're going to cancel your last sessions, Shirley, the encouraged consultant says. Actually, Claire smiles, you've already had all the benefit you can have from your treatment. Now we need to give you a chance to recover. So go home and have a lovely Christmas. Throughout all the hardship of her treatment, Shirley has never complained. I remember waiting for an hour and a half in the parking lot for medicines. I sat beside her, feeling more and more alarmed. I could see she was so sick, feeling so terrible, but she did not utter a single word of complaint. Now, at last, Shirley can write. It's been grueling, but it's over. Thanks again for your support. Sadly, my lungs aren't completely clear yet. One tumour in particular on my right lung has not budged yet. So please, can we ask God for that? Like excited children let out of school for the holiday break, we head for home. Now for Christmas. But Shirley needs to recover from the chemo first. One of the things I manage while she rests is a round robin. Dear friends, as I sit down to write to you, I'm heavy-hearted. Shirley has come away from this last round of chemo very, very whacked. She crawled into my arms in front of the TV last night and just stayed there, and then later asked me to tuck her into bed like a little girl. I know that in a day or two's time she will be better, but for now we keep everything scrupulously clean. We feed cats and do the shopping. Twice a day we feed Margaret, Dorothy, Fred and Derek, the goldfish. By the 23rd of December, my birthday, Shirley's recovered quite a bit. She makes a yummy chocolate cake for me. Now that she's up and about again, we all perk up. That night she drives us to a pub she loves for dinner. Shirley's well enough to cook, and she loves it, especially the new recipe she's found. My battered heart gently rejoices. She's got our Christmas sorted as well, a cranberry cheesecake trifle no less, for Christmas dinner, and a duck waits meekly in her fridge. She has Brian and me shred the red cabbage and peel potatoes. She's always wanted a sprout tree, so we bring a large one home, also for her Christmas feast. In between all this, Shirley delivers presents, and we make several trips to Sainsbury's. We also visit home base for Brian to buy me a Christmas present. To my delight, I come away with 2 fat little robins with very red breasts. As South Africans, we revel in the beauty of the decorations for sale in the UK, glowing and tinkling under a variety of warm lights. At one point recently, Shirley said that she'd lost her courage. I wonder about that. It certainly doesn't look like it to me. In fact, all this activity strikes me as pretty amazing and brave. I feel the need to write and share. As Brian, Shirley and I celebrate together, in a way made much deeper and more meaningful by the experience of these 6 months, there's a deep gratitude for the love that we have seen that is such a saviour. And it is from this emotional place that we wish you, each one, a lovely Christmas and a precious, blessed New Year. Thank you for all you have done for us and are still doing. How much we appreciate you. Christmas Day begins with no ordinary breakfast. Shirley poaches eggs in rapidly boiling water on the stove. She serves them with salmon and other delightful trimmings. Brian's and my thankfulness for a Christmas like this remains uppermost in our minds. It's like a soft blanket over us, warm and precious. There's a quiet joy in everything we do. It goes with us to the morning service in Greyfriars. Shirley and I sing together. Just one more time. Then there are Shirley's friends to meet and hug, and there's mulled wine, warm and fruity, smelling mostly of cinnamon, served with delicious mince pies. For church, Shirley has put on her wig, a relief for Brian and me, exposed and vulnerable as we are to her bald head at home. Back home, she hangs the wig up, on the stairs again, and rolls up her sleeves. She sets Brian and me to work. In time, red cabbage, baked potatoes, Brussels sprouts and roast duck make our mouths water. These days, Shirley says she can't stop eating, so it's pure joy for her, as well as us, to tuck in. Cranberry cheesecake trifle appears next, made after several trips to find the cranberries. We talk, laugh a bit, text those we want to bless, watch TV, and chill. This is the best Christmas that Brian and I can remember in recent years. I feel as if I want to stop time, somehow, and live in the now forever. We feel the familiar peace that has come to stay. We are quiet and together and even happy for now. I've been reading from my book, Mum, Please Help Me Die, the story of my daughter Shirley's battle with cancer. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, please contact me. You can do that at the following email address, thai@mumpleasehelpmedie.co.za. I hope you'll be with me again next week. Goodbye.